Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Student Mindset. Today, we have a very special episode. We are talking about the transition from a difficult high school experience to university life. It's the moment of truth for many young people. Sitting with me today is David, a senior engineering student who has a reputation around campus for his incredible work ethic. David, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sarah. It's great to be here.
So, looking at you now, confident, successful, about to graduate, it's hard to imagine that things weren't always easy. I know you had a tough time before joining this university. Can you take us back to your high school days?
Honestly, Sarah, my life back then was very unstable. My father lost his job when I was a sophomore, and we had to move apartments almost every 6 months. Because of that, nothing felt permanent. I'd make friends, and then we'd leave. That struggle at home made it very hard to focus on school.
That sounds incredibly stressful. How did that affect you academically?
It affected everything. There was this constant pressure to just survive rather than thrive. My grades dropped. I remember sitting in math class feeling completely lost. I had this feeling. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time, but it was like I was drowning while everyone else was swimming. I felt a lot of doubt about whether I was smart enough to even go to college.
So, what changed? How did you move forward from that mindset?
It started with a decision. I realized that if I wanted a different future, I had to stop waiting for things to get better and make them better myself. I decided I wanted to be a professional engineer, but I knew that required a huge commitment. I had to change my habits entirely. I started waking up at 5 a.m. every day.
5 a.m.? That requires serious discipline.
It does, but consistency was the only way. I created a strict schedule for myself. It wasn't just about studying. It was about preparing myself physically and mentally. I started running in the mornings to clear my head, and then I would review my notes before school started.
So, you applied to this university. Tell me about that process.
The application process was intimidating. There were so many instructions to follow and strict deadlines. I had to be responsible for gathering all my documents, writing essays, and getting recommendations. I realized that at university, you have to be independent. No one is going to hold your hand.
And when you finally got accepted and arrived here for your first semester, how was the adjustment?
It was a shock. The workload kept me on my toes. In high school, you can sometimes memorize things and pass, but here, the professors expect critical thinking. You have to analyze problems, not just repeat answers. During my first week, I had a physics professor who spoke so fast, I had to really lock in during lectures just to keep up.
I think many students struggle with that shift. How did you handle the workload?
Well, studying became an around-the-clock job. I practically lived in the library. But I learned that the name of the game isn't just working hard, it's working smart. I had to adjust my study methods. I learned to communicate better with my professors.
Can you give us an example of that?
Sure. In my first semester, I failed a midterm. It was devastating. My confidence was shattered. But instead of quitting, I went to the professor's office hours. I realized I needed to learn to speak his language, to understand exactly what he was looking for in the answers. We went over my mistakes, and he gave me very specific instructions on how to improve.
That shows a lot of maturity. It seems like participation is key.
Absolutely. You can't just sit in the back of the room. Active participation in class and in study groups is essential. I also learned that I had responsibilities to my teammates. In engineering, we do a lot of group projects. If you don't do your part, the whole team fails. You have to be responsible.
Speaking of teams, how do you balance the social aspect with the academic work?
It's a balance. You have to have a can-do attitude, but you also need to know your limits. I view my time here as a job. I am here to succeed. But I also realized that university offers incredible opportunities outside the classroom. I joined the robotics club, which helped me apply what I learned. It kept me constant in my passion for engineering.
That's a great example. You mentioned earlier that the environment at home was unstable. Do you feel that the discipline you learned here has made your life more secure?
100%. The consistency I developed here, doing the work well again and again, has carried over into my personal life. I feel mentally strong now.
When a problem comes up, I don't panic. I use critical thinking to solve it. I know that if I follow a plan and stay committed, I can handle anything.
That is really inspiring, David. For the students listening who might be feeling doubt or pressure right now, what is your final advice?
I would say trust the process. Success doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you respect the deadlines, when you follow the schedule, and when you take the opportunities given to you. Even if your start was rough, your future is up to you. You have to stay forward-looking.
Stay forward-looking. I love that. David, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's clear that your commitment has paid off.
Thank you, Sarah.
That's all for today's episode. Remember, whether it's in sports or academics, success is about discipline, responsibility, and keeping that can-do attitude. Thanks for listening.